Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is February 13th of 2025. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears that CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to stage a preemptive Israeli attack and/or invasion of Iran on the date of February 16th of 2025. So, just to give you a little bit of background about what's going on, which is the reason why this invasion is imminent, is that one, Donald J. Trump and Vladimir Putin just had an hour-long phone conversation on February 12th, during which they agreed to meet in each other's respective countries, and the Trump organized Hamas-Israeli ceasefire is going as planned, with Hamas returning hostages. And most importantly, South Africa, starting yesterday on February 12th, laid out its case for Israeli genocide in the Hamas-Israeli war at the Hague, at the International Criminal Court at the Hague in the Netherlands. Not to mention that here in the United States, Elon Musk and his Doge team are currently executing an audit of the U.S. Federal Reserve, as well as Doge has physically entered IRS headquarters to do an audit. So what we're going to find is likely going to be tied to Israel and or Zionist operatives within our government in the United States. And so Israel is absolutely desperate to start World War III with Iran. So just given that backdrop, the legal impetus, if you will, for this impending attack is that on February 15th, part of the Hamas-Israeli ceasefire agreement is that Hamas must return all the hostages to Israel alive on the date of February 15th at 12 o'clock Israeli time. And so there's 113 hostages which are allegedly still alive in possession of Hamas. And so back on February 10th, U.S. President Donald J. Trump stated in respect to the impending February 15th deadline that, as far as I'm concerned, if all the hostages aren't returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock, all bets are off, and let hell break out. Saturday at 12 o'clock, and after that, I would say, all hell is going to break out. So essentially, the CIA is going to have Hamas, which is basically the Israeli terror arm, and I can prove that in a court of law, that the Israeli terror arm of Hamas is going to break this previously agreed upon ceasefire on February 15th at 12 o'clock. And then Israel will go it alone, is going to attack Iran. So this could be a ground invasion, but the most likely scenario is that the CIA has Israel, which is basically armed by the United States with our weapons and our planes and our drones, is going to conduct a series of escalating airstrikes targeting Iran. Then Iran will retaliate predictably against Israel, and that will predictably be nuclear in nature, and then World War III will break out. So, in order to set up this scenario for this impending attack, Israel just purchased $7.4 billion worth of Hellfire missiles and other equipment from the United States government, which is going to be used in this attack because they want to draw America into it. So they're going to say that they could not have executed this impending preemptive attack on Iran if they were not allowed to purchase these weapons from America. So they're making the United States culpable because the United States will predictably suffer a nuclear attack by Iran in the aftermath of this impending Israeli attack and invasion of Iran on February 16th. Also, back on August 5th of 2022, the CIA executed Operation Breaking Dawn, which featured the the call up and subsequent deployment of 25,000 Israeli defense forces, and these are the troops that are going to be that have been readied over the last 2-3 years to basically to seize Iran's capital, which is Tehran, in the aftermath of this impending attack. And the notion that Hamas is a terror arm of the IDF in Israel was corroborated back on January 24th of 2009 when the Wall Street Journal published a report entitled "How Israel Helps Spawn Hamas." And coincidentally, February 16th of 2025 marks exactly 480 months since the so-called Iran-Israel proxy war started back on February 16th of 1985. And this is where we get into the crux of this impending war that does not need to happen. So first of all, former Iranian President Ahmadinejad, I forget his first name, but he's a doctor, is a Jewish person, a Jewish man. Also a Zionist, and former Iranian President Hussein Rouhani is also Jewish, who also donated millions of dollars to a Jewish children's hospital in Tehran. So on the outside, they want the world to believe that Iran wants to wipe Israel off the map and that Iran is funding all this terrorism against Jews and against the state of Israel. But in reality, the leadership of Iran is Jewish, and so they plan to smash our country using Israel, and they plan to smash the United States against Iran in a nuclear war to achieve the political and military goals of Israel, despite the fact that both of their heads of state, I don't know, I can't speak for the current president, but two previous presidents of Iran have been Jewish, both of which have spouted vile anti-Semitic language. So it's all just theater. They're just basically trying to trigger World War III over this notion that Iran wants to wipe Israel off the map, which couldn't be further from the truth. They just want to use Iran to provoke a nuclear war with the United States because they're losing control of the United States. And so these 113 remaining hostages that were taken in the false flag October 7th attack of 2023, the 113 remaining out of the 251 which were originally taken, my belief is that they're being held by Yemen, which is the National Counterterrorism Unit of the Israeli military. The notion that they cannot find these hostages somewhere in Israel is laughable, considering that Israel and the Zionist establishment has the best intelligence in the world, because most of the people that work in intelligence happen to be of Jewish ethnicity. And in order to basically counter the impending anti-war protests that are expected to erupt all over the United States and the world on February 16th, they have one Kanye West. I don't know if he's blackmailed. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's been spouting all this anti-Semitic rhetoric and selling T-shirts with swastikas and everything. And then if you've been following the news, there was a number of actors that were portrayed in a commercial, basically with a FU with a Jewish star that says "fuck Kanye," and all of your A-list celebrities from Hollywood, most of which are Jewish, all basically saying "fuck Kanye" because he's saying all this anti-Semitic stuff, and this is designed to dispel and to discourage and to dissuade the impending anti-war protests. And because it's imperative to note that this is Zionism, just like the war in Ukraine between Russia and Ukraine that's being led by a Zionist named Vladimir Zelensky in Ukraine, and the war being led with Hamas in Israel led by a Zionist named Benjamin Netanyahu. This is Zionism 101, and so they're having their de facto operative, Kanye West, basically execute a solo campaign of anti-Semitism in order to basically to get ahead of it, because real protests against Zionism are coming in the aftermath of this war. So exactly how this war will go down, like I said earlier, it's obviously not known. This could feature Israeli airstrikes, ground invasion, but it will most likely start with a bombardment of Israeli drone strikes and airstrikes targeting Tehran and Iran's nuclear sites across the country. And then, of course, this is specifically designed to provide a timely motive for Iranian revenge attacks, and which will predictably be nuclear in nature. So we're looking at Tel Aviv, possibly, but most likely Jerusalem, Paris, possibly, and then, of course, in the United States, it's going to be Washington and New York City. And so that's the plan. It's going down on February 16th. It's also imperative to note that the number 16 is symbolic of the CIA, because there's 16 points on the CIA star. And so this is obviously designed to trigger World War III, after which all the aforementioned peace talks and all the evidence of Israeli genocide and all the audits into the Federal Reserve and the IRS and everything is going to come to a screeching halt as soon as nukes get dropped. And this weekend, there is a number of high-profile events. We have the Munich Security Conference going on in Munich. In the event that there is a nuclear event in Israel, Europe, or the United States, a majority of the people in attendance there will likely be assassinated, especially those opposed to war. We also have, in the United States, we have the Daytona 500 on Sunday, February 16th, as well as the NBA All-Star Game. And so those venues will likely be used to basically propagandize the American public in respect to this war. So obviously that cannot be allowed to happen. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this will be the pretext for this impending Israeli attack or invasion of Iran will be the violation of Hamas, which is a euphemism or a it's basically, the word Hamas comes from hummus, which is one of the most popular Israeli foods or Jewish foods in the world. And so this is because this is their terror arm, and it's a joke. It's an inside joke, essentially, that they control this terror arm. I mean, think about it logically. These guys are supposedly digging through tunnels, but they always have clean uniforms. And the reason why they're wearing masks, in my humble opinion, is because they're actually Jewish, and their features would be shown, and so that everyone would be like, wait, they're not Palestinian, they're actually Jewish. So they have to hide their face, and that's why they always have the latest weaponry, despite being in the most secure place in the world. I mean, they have the Israeli Navy on the coast, and they are surrounded by Israel, which is one of a police state, if there ever was one, and yet they have always the top weapons, brand new uniforms, brand new flags, brand new trucks, brand new missiles, brand new guns, brand new everything. So this is basically a trick, if you will, by the CIA to basically trick humanity into World War III. And then, of course, Trump, being a supporter, he will likely be goaded into this to supporting Israel, hence the aforementioned weapons deal. And obviously, in the event that New York or Washington is nuked, then obviously Trump will likely be assassinated in that particular attack. So he wouldn't be around to disagree with this, what's about to unfold. So obviously that can be allowed to happen. So if the CIA stages an Israeli attack or invasion of Iran this weekend, February 13th, 14th, 15th, or 16th, I kindly ask that you download this video and share with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets. Lastly, I should say that in the aftermath of this video, there's a high possibility that the CIA would stage Iranian or Iranian-backed Islamic terror groups such as Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas, Hezbollah, or the Taliban related terror attacks to provide the impetus or the pretext for an Iranian attack or invasion provide the pretext for an Israeli attack or invasion of Iran, which may include, but is not limited to, 9/11 style attacks, bombing attacks, hijacking, hostage crisis, kidnapping, mass shootings, mass stabbings, storming attacks, suicide bombing attacks, ramming attacks, or BBIE attacks, which is basically car bombings or truck bombings. So obviously praying for a peaceful weekend. Peace.